That's the doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Radio United.
Hey, we are back with the People's Weekly. How are you, Glenn?
Muted.
Oh man, I got nervous after the technical difficulties yesterday.
No, I'm here.
How's Canada?
Canadian.
Wow, that's a that's a shock. So yeah, I'm looking for the tweet to retweet it. People's Radio. There we go. There it is, live podcast. So yeah, I just took a big bong rip. I'm like, So yeah, to anybody who hasn't heard, most of the people on Earth have already listened. Yesterday I did an awesome show with Adrian from michaelkohas.org, and I think it was a really, really awesome interview. It was about public records activism. And he kind of ran through how anybody can get Freedom of Information Act requests. Anybody can request records, and it's a hassle and it's a big ordeal, but anyone can do it. And, you just have to be able to basically describe what you want. So it was inspiring. It was awesome. I encourage everybody to listen to it. It's the first show currently in the My Non-Objective Opinion playlist on peoplesradiounited.com. I'm going to post it up a few more times this week like I usually try to do with the new shows. But yeah, we had technical difficulties for the second time during this show, but we re-released it with a edited, cleaned up kind of quote-unquote version where everything should be kind of fixed. I did ask the same questions a couple of times because I was stressed out in the middle trying to get things working. But other than that, I think it was pretty decent. And as always, the guest, Adrian, took us through. So, yeah, that's that. Go check it out. What?
I did listen to it. Yeah, it's like you said, it's very good general instruction, I guess.
Yeah, it's really
for how you shouldn't let the system intimidate you. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and it's really basic stuff because I didn't know anything about this. I know very little about it. So I think I even said on the show a couple of times, we're going to be learning together. And Adrian was wonderful and amazing enough to go through it and be patient and explain everything with all the questions, that probably were really simplistic, I guess. But I learned a lot, and I'm sure if I did, a lot of other people will too. So that's awesome. So yeah, how was your Saturday, Glenn?
Pretty much like every other Saturday, I guess. I was away from home for most of last week, which was, different. I must say it was nice to be back driving on a highway at high speed with windows down, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, I remember when we used to be able to do this sort of thing without any bizarre consequences. Of course, what that meant was I traveled to within 50 miles of the U.S. border. And for some unknown reason, the closer I got to the border, the more it appeared that everybody wished to believe that COVID is over. So I don't know if there's any connection between those two facts, but there's a lot of people out there that are basically just ignoring the reality of what's going on. I think we're going to see the result in a couple weeks in my province in Canada of all the stupidity that's been going on the last month, as far as everybody thinking everything's fine. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, it's. I know there's a new mandate recently here in Los Angeles anyway. Might be all of California that people got to wear masks again and social distance, but it's kind of like a weak sauce version. They're like, we're not going to really enforce it and this and that. Like, I was in the pharmacy, dude, of all the places. I think it was last week. And I was pissed the hell off. Nobody had masks on. The people behind the counter did, but the people in line, they're just standing around, standing next to each other, bunched up. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They still got the signs on the floor saying 6 feet. These people are like, no. And that's the thing now, because people be like, oh, I got vaccinated. So what? Put on a fucking mask. It's really weird. I've seen people running out of restaurants being like, they want us to wear masks. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. And they're like, everyone says, I hear people yelling this to each other across parking lots and stuff. It's really weird, man. Like, why wouldn't you want to hide your face from a camera when you go in a place? Why wouldn't you want to have less of a chance of getting cold, flu, COVID, or anything else? It just doesn't make sense to me.
My freedoms.
Although that one weirdo white hillbilly lady was screaming about, smell your mask when you put it on. It smells like shit. And I thought maybe that might have something to do with it. If you have shitty smelling breath, you put on a mask, that's only all you smell. So brush your teeth, use some mouthwash or something, use a breath mint, and wear your fucking mask. It's pretty simple.
Well, the issue that people are trying to get some attention to up here north of the border is the issue with no vaccinations for kids. For anyone 12 and under is currently what the deal is here. And in the province I live in, since COVID has started, pretty much 1 in 4 detected cases have been on people 12 years or younger. Well, this whole thing about schools have always been germ factories. That's all there is to it. Whether you want to talk about measles or chickenpox or mumps or whatever, when it gets loose in a school, there's a lot of kids that end up getting it. And again, there's been no impetus to get teachers double vaccinated, people who work in schools double vaccinated. There's been nothing to make sure that they get protected before they're going back in September. Basically, most governments in Canada have done absolutely fuck all to make schools less of a transmission zone. They just don't want to talk about it. It's basically, it's not there. We're not looking, so it's not there. We don't test for that because it's not there. It's just basically making a statement of convenience and then sticking to it. And if the Delta variant, as it is in many other places, there seems to be very little said about the high rates of vaccination in places like the United Kingdom and Israel and other countries in the European Union that have a over 50% full vaccinated population above the age of 12. And now they're having huge case spikes again with Delta. And I'm sure everybody has seen the article starting to appear in the United States, how, yeah, there's a new COVID rush, but it's all the unvaccinated people who are getting it and dying. Well, what do you expect? Isn't that how everything works?
Yeah, but here it's kind of sad, though, man. You got all this misinformation. Like, I'll get these DMs from people. One dude, I think he sends them to be funny, but if you think about it, it's pretty terrible. Like, there were these two white dudes cheering and screaming and ranting on about, they seemed actually really excited about it. They were like, 45% of everybody who's been vaccinated is dead or something. They said like that. We're going to sue the government to show the records, and nobody knows this information and blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching this. So I looked the guy's name up. He's some dang alt-right chiropractor, Trump-loving guy.
Yep.
He's a chiropractor. And they ain't talking like he's a doctor. Like he knows all this. And he's been telling us forever. You know, I think we'd see that. We'd see evidence of that if 45% of people that got vaccinated were dropping dead. It just seems
exactly.
like
there would be
bodies.
Yeah,
you would have to sue the government to get information.
Dead.
But then he sent this other one. It was because they call them like Institute of this or this Institute or that, and you look them up, man. It's just some little right wing website, quote unquote news, medical news or whatever.
Yeah, Facebook University.
Yeah, it's just conspiracy theory shit, and they just and it's the same talking points all the time, man. It's terrible because people are believing this stuff. People are really like, oh, I see people I know. They're like, I'll never get that. I'll never get that devil's vaccine and this and that. And I'm like, how the hell did you get QAnon information? You a black gangster, dude. Get off the goddamn internet if you don't know what to watch. But yeah, then they get it and they start spreading the information. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell?
COVID
so they're going through shaming people, telling people not to get it because it's this and that. The government trying to do this to you and track you. And I've heard so many stories about how it is. The religious are talking about it's the mark of the beast. It's the end of times. Like, come on, y'all. You do this every time something happens. Get over it. I know they all hoping like this is going to be the final one time we right, but no, you're never right. You're never going to be right.
COVID misinformation is spreading just like COVID spreads.
Even faster.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, you know? It's first of all, people are ignorant of it. Then they may see a little bit of truth and it's like, ooh, it's scary. I don't like that. These people say that's not how it is. Well, I'll listen to them because it makes me feel better.
I don't know, man. I don't like needles. And I went and got it. Like, everyone should just do it. I mean, it's like you just got to do it or you can get real sick. It's not worth it. Or even worse, you can make somebody you care about real sick, even if you don't get real sick.
That's the issue right there.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Yeah, it's just such a ridiculous hill to die on, literally, you know?
Well, I mean, just it becomes this groupthink thing. And I mean, people, whether they want to admit it or not, if anything that people do that has suddenly been deemed unacceptable by some segment of society, all it takes is for a certain percentage or number of people to go at them over what they're doing. And it'll have the effect, you know. People will either start doing whatever it is they're doing in secrecy, or they'll quit doing it. Just because society is passing along a vibe that that's not cool. And there's far too many people that live their entire lives like this. I mean, in the city I live in, there is basically no restrictions that are mandatory by the government where I live. So some cities have kept their mask bylaw. Most haven't. But yet, we are starting to see the slow spread of employers demanding that employees are vaccinated. We're starting to see pretty much anywhere you go into that is a service business, whether it's a convenience store or some other type of retail outlet, everybody working there is still wearing masks.
Yeah, here it's like that too. It's just you have those little places every once in a while where they're not.
Yeah, but they've been idiots all along, so that's really nothing new. But the city where I live, I can go out to a supermarket or somewhere else, and even though this is a couple weeks old now, that this bullshit line that everything's fine now, where I live, it's still at least 50% people wearing masks in public. I go 2 hours south, and now it's about 20%. And then I go another hour and a half south, and nobody that is not working where they're told to wear a mask is wearing a mask. And I mean nobody. It's like, it's over. Well, then how come all these businesses are keeping their people masked if it's over? Oh, well, whatever. They don't want to think about that because in their mind, for them, it's over. So, reap the whirlwind. That's all I got to say. It was months ago I said that the only way this is going to solve was there are the people that will get the vaccination, wear the mask, do what they're supposed to do, and everybody else is going to put everybody at risk. And I said, what we need is a variant that is stopped fairly simply by people doing protocols, masking, distancing, washing your hands. But everybody who doesn't do that gets it and dies. That's the only way we're going to fix this, and it's becoming more obvious to me. I heard this story about some idiot in Texas who was a severe anti-masker, anti-COVID. It doesn't exist. It's a lie. And now they're dead. And now the rest of the family is like, oh yeah, I guess it's real. Yeah, you should get the vaccine.
No. The Illuminati killed him to silence him from the truth.
Ridiculous, man.
That's how they spin that stuff.
I just don't get it. It's the equivalent in slow motion. It's the equivalent in invisibility that, this dude standing beside me got shot and died. Well, I guess he just was weak where bullets are concerned. That's not going to happen to me. And then that person gets shot, and it's like, oh, geez, I guess I should have done something about this. Oh, well. Hey, everybody, don't get shot. Ugh. It's just there's so many stories. The lack of reason that people are invoking to do what they want is ridiculous. And
well, I think some people are really scared because they're ignorant and they just watch these weird conspiracy theory shit on YouTube all the time. And that becomes real to them. So they're like, oh my God, there's real conspiracy theories. That's what I told one of the homies on there. I said, I think maybe we should fight things that we know are, because he's like, in the future, it's going to be basically some kind of control chip or tracking, something he was saying, whatever. But anyway, I was like, I was trying to be nice about it. I was like, maybe we should fight the things going on right now, like police brutality, militarized police state, this and that, and worry about the things that might happen in the future when they come up, but deal with what's going on now. It's just so crazy, man. These conspiracy theories they're wackadoo, but people will hear different parts of it. And they'll be like, whoa, that makes sense, you know? I mean, you think, oh, the government wants to oppress people. Well, they want to steal your money, basically, and they don't give a fuck about you. They want you to give them taxes. They want to, you know, they don't give a fuck. They want your people to be elected. They want to do what they want to do. And you're insignificant, but they're not out to get you. I mean, if you're not an activist, if you're just the average person, you know, there are people the government is out to get. And I'm not one of them. I'm just saying there are people. we know some of them. Yeah. But yeah, it's not you, and it just seems kind of silly not to get a vaccine from a deadly disease. I mean, I'm sure these people had vaccines when they were younger for other things, and they haven't got them, and they didn't drop dead. So I don't know. It just kind of seems like common sense to me, but everybody doesn't see shit like that. And I feel bad. It's just like, you know, I hope they be okay. But here in the U.S., they're cutting off everybody's money. A lot of places they're gonna start evicting if they haven't already. Sooner or later. And winter's coming, man. And if you know anything about viruses and flus, they get worse in the winter, and colds and everything. So you're gonna have a whole lot of sick people that aren't vaccinated. Don't know if they have COVID or what. It's just going to be fucked up, and they're not going to be having any way to make money if they are sick or if something's wrong. They're not going to have any way to just so much. I don't know, man. Just seems like common sense. You say, hey, we're going to get through this next year, and we're going to take care of our people. But the U.S. doesn't think like that.
I mean, it's pretty simple if you want to get down to how easy it is to find out statistical evidence, etc., about masks. Because, you know, as long as I can remember, there is a available seasonal flu shot that is available up here. And it's mostly for seniors, you know, people who are immunocompromised, etc. Every year, the flu, quote unquote, kills a certain amount of people. Well, whether it morphs into pneumonia and that takes them, or whatever happens, it's based on this seasonal flu virus. Well, over the winter in 2020, 2021 in Canada, the numbers of deaths from the flu just dropped like a rock. And what was the one thing that was done?
Mask social distancing.
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody who says masks don't work can just fuck right off, as far as I'm concerned, because they do. And people saying that, oh, I'm breathing my own carbon dioxide. And it's like, bitch, shut up. I mean, I have had jobs where I have to wear a half respirator for 12 hours a day. I never passed out. I never got dizzy. None of this shit is true. And the reason we have to wear those respirators in that environment is because of we can't see it, we can't even smell it, but we know that this fatal risk can occur. That's why we wear the masks.
I'm going to be honest. I think anti-maskers should have to deal with that all the way around. Like if something happens and they got to go in for surgery, no one can wear a mask in that room.
Yeah, I've seen that brought up a few times, and there's no response. People run away.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they're painting something, no mask. I mean, it might feel good for a while. I don't know, but it depends on the kind of paint. But just no mask it all the way around. Let the doctors be coughing up in there while they got you cut open and sneezing and whatever they're doing. It's all good. Masks don't help.
Yeah.
It's a hoax.
No. Yeah, it's all a big scam by the PPE manufacturers to create a market. There is no purpose in them. No, see, that's what network TV is. That's not what personal protective equipment is.
Yeah, it's just ignorance, man. And these people are pumping this propaganda out day and night. And it's more than just the wackadoo QAnons and white supremacists. There's actual people you would think are reasonable and normal buying some of this shit. It's really
They're on
crazy.
their own.
What?
They're on their own as far as I'm concerned.
But that's the problem. They're not. There's a whole bunch of people like that. They're all out there and they're endangering others. This misinformation is designed where it kind of fits into whatever kind of, oh, this person's religious. They might be Muslim or Christian. Well, we'll go like this, and then they'll take a branch, and then they'll take a branch, and they'll start spreading the misinformation a little bit different amongst their people. But in the end, it comes down to the same thing. Mask bad. Mask is for government control. They're trying to stop us. They're trying to stop what we're doing. They're trying to stop our religion. And a lot of, and if you go past those people and get to the right-wing wackadoos, these are the same people that were trying to have, they were trying to make masks illegal not that long ago because they didn't want these anarchists and anti-fascists out there, or even people that don't get along with whatever political party they're with. They don't want them out there masked up, not showing their faces at a protest. Why aren't they proud to be out there? Kind of stuff like that. And some states were starting to pass laws like that. Like, down south, I think Florida was working on it and some other places. So I'm happy that people have to wear masks now, or at least are supposed to wear masks now. Because if they have medical value, then you can say, I can wear a mask. Where, think about that. You're protesting. You think what?
There are parts of the world where people wear a paper mask just as a part of their everyday lives.
Yeah.
Because there's so much pollution in the air they breathe.
Long before the virus.
Yeah, it's either pollution or it's just the squeeze, the crush of so many people where they live, if they have to take public transit or whatever. There are people that wear a mask just because they know it's the smart thing to do where they're living. And nobody says shit. Nobody chases people wearing masks and calls them names. It's just simply a choice they've made to live their life. And, for this so-called great freedom democracy to be trying to shame or worse people who choose to do a certain thing. It just blows my mind how all these so-called constitutional idiots are going to get so worked up about somebody choosing to wear a mask.
Yeah. Hey, these same people here, I don't know when it is, sometime this week or weekend, whole bunch of these Nazi weirdo, anti-masker, QAnon, save the babies, everyone's a pedophile, but them people are going to a cancer doctor at I think it's Cedars-Sinai Hospital to protest this doctor because he wouldn't let cancer patients in without masks.
That's extremely
at a hospital.
Smart.
Yeah, so he's going to have a bunch of right-wing Nazi wackadoos over there trying to protest him and cause problems. These are the same people that were there on Saturday. That's why I asked you about your weekend earlier. It was Saturday at that at the Wii Spa. Same Nazi jackasses that were there going to go to this doctor, cause problems, maybe try to kill him, who knows, tear stuff up, threaten everybody because he wants people in a cancer facility to wear masks and be respectful of others. It's really the dumbest shit I've ever heard. These people are nuts.
You know, with all these different subtopics that these people get so fucking wound up about, there's one political system that approves of all these bitches. And that, of course, would be the big F.
Capitalism.
Fascism.
Same difference.
Well, yeah, but, you know.
No, I know there's a difference in, but yeah, we're in a capitalist fascist society.
Corporate fascism, I believe, is appropriate. You know, that's the other thing, too. People talking about, now again, of course, it seems like it's the 2-month cycle or whatever. Now China, People's Republic of China, is the biggest threat in the world, and everything they're doing is fucking up your life. They're hacking everything. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's time that we quit relying on China. Well, it's a little late for that, and people, I think, should understand that there are maybe 10 or 20 multinational corporations that have made China the warehouse of the Western world.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with governments, nothing to do with how people voted. It's because capital made them a part of the consumerist society that will bring the whole thing down if they withdraw. So, you know, it's just all this demonstrative bullshit. It's getting so tiring. And again, it's just nothing new, just more distraction. I really don't understand what the end goal of some philosophies are to want COVID-19 to keep mutating, keep killing, keep costing money, keep draining the health system. What is the point? It's nihilistic at best.
Yeah, China's been the brunt of a lot of people's frustration lately. They just take it out. I mean, what country isn't a problem? That would be my question. What country
Iceland.
isn't exploiting its people and exploiting everyone in the world they can?
Iceland. That's it.
Maybe. I'm sure
Iceland,
they still have issues.
Yeah, but it's an entire country that's almost just a little bigger, the landmass, than the city I live in. And it's a country with only like 320,000 people. So, you know, smaller group. As long, you know, if they all get on board, yeah, they should be able to keep their shit running fairly well.
Yeah.
New Zealand would be the next one, I would say, and they've got, I think, between 5 and 6 million. But yeah, they also have the physical isolation, and they're not a huge market to be capitalized, so they get left alone in that respect in a lot of ways. But I just find it ridiculous that no matter the numbers, to get like 85 to 98% approval on things that affect society, it doesn't really matter whether you're talking about 100 people or 100 million people, because people are people, right? Supposedly. But yet, you know, even with a group of 100 people, are you going to get 98 out of 100 that agree to do a certain thing? No, it's not going to happen.
No.
Now, is that based on a legitimate opposition, or is it just to be different, or is it the conspiratorial fear in anything that is extremely popular? Who knows? But I mean, there's something different about the way those countries conduct their business, their everyday business, their domestic business, their interaction. There's got to be something different, because you just don't get to the point that we're at overnight. It's taken a long, long time to get huge percentages of the population to be as cold and fucking ignorant as they are. It's not natural. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but they worked hard on it for, like you said, decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. Centuries here. It's just been evolving to what we have now, a militarized police state spread all across the globe. It's like the U.S. is a virus. So many of these countries are viruses, man. That's the thing. If you stay, mind your own business. Have your people cool before you go invading and slaughtering and killing and occupying everywhere else in the world, man. You got people starving on the streets in your country. What are you trying to do? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Just make more people suffer. That's all we do here. They go out and they make more people suffer all around the world. They don't help the people that's suffering right here. The people, you know, their own constituents, their own people. And the corporations are running shit, but the politicians are taking their money and making sure the shit goes their way. It's just so corrupt, man.
Well, you know, I mean, the easy answer, if you were external to this, would be, well, you know, whatever. These societies let it happen to them. They got distracted. They didn't care. So, you know, it is what it is. Deal. There's a lot of inherent logic to making a statement like that. It's true. Things wouldn't be the way they are unless an overwhelming majority of people didn't give a fuck. So, you know, it's a long road back when you fucking wake up in the ditch, but, you know,
what about the people that are born in the ditch, you know?
I know, but that's a result of it, you know? People still like to wax on about this great explosion of the middle class after World War II. And, well, it was, let's be honest, it was socialist acts of government that rewarded the millions of people that were sent off to war and came home and got educated, whether it was for white-collar or blue-collar work. And there was a president, it seems almost too incredible to have happened now. Like, this was less than a century ago. And the guy who led all the soldiers in Europe against Germany became the president of the U.S. Now, you know, you look at anybody else from the military that has tried to get into politics, they're not exactly too concerned about the input from the enlisted personnel because, you know, they've got a job to do. But yet it was Dwight Eisenhower that had a top tax rate of over 90% in the United States. It was him that really saw the GI Bill work and produce what became a powerhouse, the American economy. And I mean, you can change numbers and what's popular, etc. But the bottom line is, without people who have way, way more than they're ever going to need, if they're not willing, if they don't understand that they should give up their excess for those who have nothing, then, you know, you're never going to evolve. You're never going to advance. I mean, imagine if from, say, Nixon on, there had been an actual concern for the American people from D.C. Just imagine how different things would be. Because I see that pretty much as the start of it being out in the open. It's like, Okay, well, we don't really care what you all want. We're in power here now. We're going to fucking do what we're going to do. It started with Nixon, the way I see it.
Yeah.
There's lots of time to slow it down or change it. Carter was almost a change. But look what the Republicans had to do to get Jimmy Carter elected president. They had to cheat to win an election. Sound familiar?
Yep.
And, there's been so much opportunity to do something. Nothing's been done. Just gets worse and worse. And here we are.
Yeah, they don't care. I had some woman earlier telling me that it's so awesome that these billionaires are going into space because they're creating so many jobs for so many people. And like those jobs, just to put somebody in space, look how they're treating their other employees. And then their response was, I would rather have people like that making sure that the United States is middle class and wealthy instead of poor than to not have them. I was like, okay. I didn't even know where to go from there. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, see ya.
It was like the dumbest shit it didn't even explain anything. It was just some random bullshit, fake, false thing to yell out there. Yeah. Like you want false poor dogma. People if you don't like billionaires. Yeah, it's not what it was.
I don't know, man. I don't know what you do with these people. And the thing is now with social media and everything else, you have no guarantee of knowing if this is an actual ignorant real person or if this is a bot or if this is someone being paid to have this viewpoint. That's what's really wrong with today.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. You want to talk about the militarized police state we have here in the U.S.?
Well, there's one more thing about what we got talking about here, and this is the fact now that we see all these talking bobbleheads on Fox News telling people to get vaccinated. So what has changed, you wonder? What exactly has changed? Have you seen the stock exchange lately?
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah, but that's it. What finally got them on board for a step in the real world was because all the people who pay their wages aren't enjoying the usual margins these days on the stock market.
I wonder if all the conspiracy theories are going to mellow out a little and be like, hey. Fox is saying that we had a few things wrong, so maybe we need to get it right. Because these rich people are losing a couple dollars here and there. We can't allow that to happen. We got to make sure the rich get richer and richer by all means necessary at any cost to us.
Well, I expect the slogan to get abused on this storyline at some point. Let's get back to normal. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody wants, quote unquote, back to normal like the 1%.
Oh, yeah.
And they made out so goddamn well in the last year and a half. How many of them really don't want this to be over?
Yeah. Or they'll use whatever. If it's over, they use that to their advantage. If it's still going, they'll use that to their advantage. They're sick people. All they care about is money, and they'll manipulate anything to make it keep coming their way. And they're rich enough to do it. Like you said, they're the 1%. They're a minority. Nobody calls them minorities. I don't understand why. We shouldn't call anybody minorities except for billionaires. When we talk about dirty, filthy minorities, we should be talking about Bezos and all these billionaires. The 3,000, whatever, however many hundred of them there are on the whole planet. Yeah. That's a hell of a minority. Why does the minority get to make every law and have all that influence? It doesn't make any sense to me. We're collectively, anyone who doesn't make $1 billion or more a year or 100 million or more a year, we're the majority. They don't seem to get that part.
Well, that's not good for business.
Yeah. It's not
And
good
the
for
only other-
the happiness and well-being of the people. They're just hoarding all that money, man. We talked about it last time.
Yeah.
People hoard things. Everyone's like, "Oh, you can't be hoarding things," but you hoard money. You're like, "Oh, you're a real cool hoarder." I don't get it.
That's something else. It was less than a century ago that the federal government put rations on just about everything because it was World War II. And I can't recall hearing any conspiracy propaganda stories about how the government just wants to control you and not give you stuff. You know, I mean, gee, that sounds exactly like communist Russia. You know, it's this change in how society sees itself and how people see themselves in society. That's what's changed.
Yeah.
That's why we have devolved. But, you know, hey, we're here now.
Yep.
But the one good thing I saw today regarding the entire COVID situation was Dr. Fauci was testifying today in D.C., and it's flying around the internet. It's only an 8-second clip. That's all you really have to see. And it's with Dr. Fauci saying to Senator Rand Paul, "Senator, if anyone is lying here, it's you. You have no idea what you're talking about." And yeah, that pretty much describes the entire GOP COVID plan.
You do realize that all these people, not even just the right-wing people, just all these anti-vax people or the people that believe part of the conspiracy theory, they think Fauci is like sent from Satan below to come over here and screw with us.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, like you said, there's not much making progress with a lot of these people, but
Yeah, it's just he's just a damn doctor. I mean, you know what I mean?
well,
They make it seem like he's this giant, you know, he's a plant to spread misinformation and do the bidding of Satan for the Democrats or whatever they believe. It's really weird.
well, there's been this question that's been out there ever since the WHO declared COVID a pandemic. And there's this question of chief medical officers of health, people like Fauci, who's in charge of the CDC, people with authority that supposedly grants them power over governments in the interest of public health. And there's this question been running all over the world about who is in the pocket of the political power, who is actually on board with the propaganda, who is doing it to stay in the room because they fear things could get much, much worse if they did something to get themselves fired. You know, there's so many of these theories. Fauci and Trump. In Canada, there are numerous provincial health ministers who have been asked this question, you know, because there will be people that say, "Thank you for the information. You're doing such a hard job." And then the next response will be, "You fucking sellout. How can you do this?" You know, that's how wide it's been, and it's definitely been that wide on Fauci. I wonder if we're ever going to get to the bottom of some of these situations. Who did it because they were on board? Who did it because they weren't on board, but they knew it would get a lot worse? You know, I bet you there's a couple movies coming out of this pandemic. Oh, yeah. You know it. I'm sure Fauci's going to be a movie. Watch Sean Penn play Fauci or something.
Yeah.
There's money there. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's just. Could you imagine the trailer for the movie?
I think Sean Penn could do a pretty good job.
I just don't think I'd see that movie. Well, I don't see any movies, so it's not really anything for me to be like, I won't go see that movie. I don't see any movies. Like,
Yeah. Me
so
neither.
yeah, that's not a big deal. But yeah, I could see them doing it. I just think of it as being extremely tacky when they do stuff like that. It just amuses me.
But they know with the psychometrics that it's going to draw, and that's all that matters. If people will pay to sit there, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, these people believe that there's an actual literal devil creature thing somewhere. And they believe the Democrats, and it's just so weird, man. Like, how do you believe that shit? There is no devil, and the Democrats just suck because they're a political party, just like the Republicans do. It's really just simple stuff right here. It doesn't involve any magic or supernatural, mystical shit. It's just the way it is, and we got to fight to change it. Which means y'all got to jump off of your red MAGA, blue MAGA stuff. You know, if you're a racist, stay your ass over there. But, you know, these people, we say it every week. They're cool with atrocities as long as their guys are the one doing it.
The ultimate team sport.
Yeah,
Survival.
that's bullshit.
Well, again, you know, there's lots of parallels with pro wrestling, but that's another story. But you did mention the word racist, so I guess that segues us right into the LAPD.
Yeah. No, on Saturday, I went to that protest at the Wii Spa. And this is the thing, man. I told you before, the police always start the shit. Yep. Every time there's a riot, there's violence, the police start it or they're the ones doing it. So yeah, everyone is there. Everyone is peaceful. We're yelling at the pigs, but that's still peaceful. That's First Amendment protected activity. Nobody was shoving them. But for some reason, they wanted to stand in front of the front door of this spa. Like, there were the Nazis are the ones that wanted to destroy the spa, and, you know, they were mad at it because of their pretend little story or whatever that wackadoo woman made up. But they wanted to stand there, so they're gonna tape it off and make everybody leave and go to. You can go anywhere you want. This corner, that corner, that corner. Just don't be in front of the spa. So finally, after we were all done talking shit for a while, like wondering why they wanted to do that, because I assumed they wanted to do that so the Nazis can come. They do that sometimes. They'll block off the section. They'll give them nice parking. They'll escort them all in. They'll make sure they're safe. So that's what I thought they were going to do. But I was wrong. Then they walked across the street, across Wilshire, and start telling the group of people over there, you can't be over here and all this, and they get all aggressive and everything. And then they go back over to the other side again. And it's like, what the hell? I even think there's a video I have, I don't know if I released it or not, where I'm like, what you just went out there to start trouble. Everyone was cool. The police go and start pushing on people, and then come back over there. Like, it was like, there was no other reason for that. It was just an act of aggression for no, people were not in the street. They were just on the corners. They were just standing around. Meanwhile, the Nazis, we keep hearing, are marching all through the city, wherever, here and there, and the cops ain't worried about what they're doing, obviously, until they got there. One or two showed up. It was really weird because I got over there late. I guess he had got pushed around a little bit, but I got over there. I mean, I was over there already, but I got across the street where this dude was, is this alt-right QAnon dude or whatever, and he's behind the police where I couldn't go and nobody else could go. And he's chilling with this one woman cop, and they have each other's phones next to each other, laughing and looking at their phones. Like she's having the best time ever with this guy. And I'm like, what the hell? And everybody knows who he is. I can't remember what they were calling him. But yeah, he's like some racist piece of shit. Bigot. who's there to, at the very least, demean and belittle and verbally harass trans people, or maybe physically and violently do it. I don't know. So, I mean, yeah, it was just these police being like ridiculous, man. Just arbitrary little rules. They had a truck in the street with a little speaker aimed the wrong way. You couldn't hear what they were saying. I think it was all intentional. So then the Nazi dudes tried to come through, and the police was like, go back. They just made a little line, but they didn't shoot at them. They didn't try to gather. They weren't thumping them with the sticks. They just were being kind of like a less threatening push them back. So then they went to the alley. They couldn't get through there. They went to the other side. They couldn't get through there. But the cops is holding us back from even going to certain areas. Like, they'll block off a whole street ahead of where these cats are. So then they got over to, it was like a block or two over, and I guess that's where I came over. When I came over there, I saw like a bunch of stuff in the streets. I was like baseball bats, and the cops were like just pushing them back. And this one dude, but they weren't like hitting him, like they were just, you know, like bouncers of the club kind of thing. No shots were fired that I saw. But then the funny thing was, I was listening to them people, the QAnon bigots. They were all screaming, fuck the police, fuck you, we hate the police. Now, these are the Blue Lives Matter people.
Really?
Yeah. It just blows my mind. I even started using that later. I was like, you know, the Blue Lives Matter people were the same ones telling you to fuck yourselves and how much they hated you. At least I'm honest about it. I don't pretend to like you when I'm not around. I don't wave your little flag. I hate you 24/7. But yeah, it was whole. And then, I mean, as you probably know, later on in the day, they shot this woman at point blank range. They were attacking people. They were hitting people for no reason with their sticks. They were all excited, man. I got videos of cops just like, yeah, thumping their stick up and down like, I want to beat your ass.
Yeah.
They just, man, they're out of control. They're out of control. Then I seen this video. I don't get kettled, man. I'm not going to let them capture me ever. That's never my goal. If I can just stay a couple feet away and not get captured, I'm going to do that. I don't trust what they might do to me there. I don't fuck the police. So, I mean, if they get me, they get me, but I'm not, you know, some people, they're like, fuck it, we're here until they capture us, then we'll get released. I don't have a guarantee they're going to release me. And I'd rather be out to fight another day. But anyway, they had everybody kettled. And there's some Nazi up in there was starting trouble, and got looked like he got his face bashed in a little bit. You know what they did? The police pushed him back at first, and the guy's like, hey, sir, come here. They're patting him on the back. Come on through, and they let him go through so he didn't get arrested. It's really weird, man. They treat these people so different. It's just
almost
like
they know them.
Oh, they are them, or those are their family and friends. Yeah,
exactly.
But it's just so funny how when the police don't do exactly what they want, they hate the police. Then the next day they're flying their giant 50-foot Blue Lives Matter flag on the back of their giant truck. It's trying to compensate for other small things, I guess. It's just weird, man. It's just really weird. There was this crazy woman. She was, I don't know, did you see that video I put up of her?
Yep.
I was having a blast. I was like, follow the plan, lady. Trust the plan. Oh, what an idiot. I mean, that's the thing, man. They got these people out here screaming She's like, you got to save the children. It's a naked adult spa. Who's bringing children there? You know, that's the one thing I never seen in the whole video. I didn't see any children. I just seen a screaming lady claiming there's children there. Why would you leave your children in a room with the naked dude waving his erection at them? I'm going to go to the desk and deal with this. You stay here with my children. You know, most mothers would have grabbed their children up out of there, but it just seemed really weird, man. That whole thing just seemed really odd and weird.
Well,
who the hell?
I think the core issue is there are millions of Americans who have lived their entire 30, 40, 50, 60 years and never really had to do a whole lot to survive. Or, you know, that's all they did. But now things are changing for good. All the people they've known are starting to die off. They look in the mirror. They're getting old. This is basically the balloon payment is due on your outstanding reverse mortgage. That's exactly what's happening to millions of people right now. And of course, the last person to be faulted for this is themselves. So, you know, I mean, there's a million flavors of ice cream out there. Whatever your quirk is, we can find one for you. And this is, you know, this is what it takes to become a member of our ice cream club. And
but why do you want some hateful, bigoted ice cream?
Then. Because it's not their fault then. That's what this is all about. It can't be their own fault that they are fucked in life. They've just figured it out.
It's not always their fault. In most cases, it's not their fault at all.
No, but
it's not the fault of. Oh, go ahead. What?
But I'm talking about the Karen army. I'm talking about these people.
But I'm saying that's the part they don't see. It's not their fault. It's the fault of these corporations. It's the fault of maybe their voting, and they're choosing not to stand up for some things, and that is their fault. But the whole system is turned against them. They just think one side of the system is on their side, and it's not. The system's on the system side, and the people within the system, they benefit from that. And the people outside of the system, they don't. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I go along with that. But this happened on their watch.
Yeah, that's what I said. They made bad choices supporting politicians and not standing up for the things that they should have been standing up for.
Well, then
I agree with that.
Their fault.
Yeah, but there are some people that did stand up for that and just lost.
Yeah, that's a different thing. I mean, there's still millions of people that are doing that. It's just that it gets steeper and steeper as this bullshit goes on. But I mean, these people that, I mean, I used to hear the stories. I mean, when my paternal grandfather died before I became voting age, and that was the most disappointing thing to me, because old grandpa would get his wife and all his kids and his kids' spouses together for a meeting, and he would tell everybody who they should vote for. And I wanted to be there for one of those, but I didn't get that chance. And there are tens of millions of people to this day. That type of bullshit is how they decide how they cast a ballot.
I didn't even know people did that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that I would guarantee that would have been the last time one of those meetings ever happened, if I was of the age to vote.
My problem is these religious places, these churches and stuff, tax-exempt status, and they're totally pushing politics, whichever politics it is. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, whoever. If they push politics at all, they should not have tax-exempt status. Yet,
Well,
here we are.
I'd like to know where all these ardent constitutionalists are on this question. How come they never have anything to say? Because we have to interpret the Constitution as it was written. Well, I'm pretty sure it says separation of church and state. So
I think that's the Bill of Rights says that, not the Constitution. I could be wrong.
Well, Bill of Rights is in.
But it does say you shall not run the state as any one religion. I think it says, or something. I don't remember the exact words.
Where are these ardent constitutionalists on this question?
Where are they on any question, man? These people don't even understand the First Amendment. The only amendment they care about is the Second Amendment,
and they don't get it.
Yeah, and they just, whatever the NRA says is the Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. We're back to the whole misinformation thing, man.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing. It's dangerous, man. You got some wacky people out there, and they can get a lot of people out there to do that. I mean, these people are showing up with what? Did you notice the LAPD? I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place because I got pissed off. The LAPD showed a picture of all the weapons they took from these terrible, tragic anarchists. One weapon was a bicycle helmet. There was 3 or 4 knives. There was some pepper spray. A couple other little tiny things, man, like things people carry every day with them all day,
Yep.
Nothing major. But how come they didn't show the other side weapons where there's baseball bats and like all kinds of big canisters of stuff and everything else? They didn't bother with that. They don't want to show the fascist weapons, just the anarchist weapons. And I wouldn't have cared if they came out there with guns and bats and whatever else too, because the Nazis did that last time. So coming out with weapons to defend the people against these insane bigots that come with weapons to do harm to people, I don't see a problem with that. I had a bunch of weapons close by. I even told the cops once, I was right next to my weapons, and I was telling the cops, like, leave. We can handle them. We don't need you here. You're only here protecting them. The cops always be like facing you with the club about to beat your ass, talking about, we're doing this for your protection.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they were indiscriminately shooting. They were hitting cars that were just driving down the street, had nothing to do with anything. I think I got video of that. I might have put it out. I don't know what I put out yet. The first night I got back, people were asking me if I had pictures of these cops, if I could help identify them. And I was trying to go through everything, trying to find these 2 cops or 4 cops they gave me pictures of. They wanted info on, so I think I found the info. And if that was the info y'all needed and you hear this, you owe the homeless people in your area, any neighbors who need it, anybody who's struggling, you owe them all $100. Split it up, get them some food, buy them a meal, go take a bunch of soup or waters down there, do something. That was the deal. They said if anyone could help identify these cops, it's $100. And I was like, I don't need the money. Give it to the people who need it, living on the streets around you.
Yep.
So I'm for real. Y'all need to do that. That's why I did all the work. But I couldn't get badge numbers, so I don't know if it pertained to that. But I definitely got their names and their name tags, because I've been filming them pigs the whole time. You know what was nice, though? I'm going to say this. These, usually I get people yelling at me like, well, don't tell cops to kill themselves. Don't curse cops out like that. I have a family member that's a cop. They're not all bad. And I'm like, yes, they are. Then I go somewhere else because I don't want to offend them. But I don't know, these protesters at this one, they were just asking me, like, why do you do that? And I told them why. And then I said, I'm sorry if it offended you. I won't do it. And they didn't even say nothing. They were like, no, I just wanted to know why. I was like, oh. Well, that's just better than telling me I can't do something because you're related to one of these swine. Asking me why I do it, it seemed more, I don't know how to describe it. It didn't make me, like, side-eye them. They seemed kind of cool. I told them why, and then I moved on. I gave them one of the People's Radio cards. But that was nice. People not just, don't do that and blah, blah, blah.
And
At least getting my side of the
umbrellas.
story. Like, I'm not a monster. I do this because they're terrible people, and they've done worse than that to me and people I know. And yes, I want them to kill themselves. I don't care. It's psychological warfare. And when I see I'm getting to one, I'm going to focus on that one. That's what I told them too. I hate them.
Well, it's fair game because it's part of their training as well. So fuck them. I mean, that's like, you don't bring a spoon to a gunfight. I mean, fuck off. They know how to look for tells about who's the weak link, etc. So fuck them. Use it on them.
Yeah, it's like my PTSD been bad for like months now. So when I went out there, it was already bad. Like just going, I mean, if I wasn't going there, it would have been bad. If I was going to anywhere, you know what I mean? Just going to the grocery store would have been bad. So it was already bad. But then they had this like dancing puffy unicorn costume somebody was wearing. And it was flipping off the police and shaking its ass at the police and mocking the police. That made me feel so happy that morning, dude. It cheered me up. And I was able to keep functioning. I don't know why. That just had me, I couldn't stop laughing. I followed it around up and down the block just because it made me so happy. And then eventually they took all the unicorn stuff off and it was just a purple outfit someone was wearing with a hood because it was all deflated. And I was like, eh.
It's over.
But yeah, I think if it wasn't for that unicorn, I would have been like probably a dangerous person. I would have I'm in danger to myself or others.
Well,
So
I'm
yeah,
sure-
that was whoever that was. Thank you, like for real.
Yeah, well, I'm sure all of Unicorn Sec would say, well, that's exactly what a unicorn is supposed to do.
Yeah. The thing. Oh man, yeah, I'm an Adventure Time fan, so rainicorns are awesome, unicorns, whatever they are. Oh man, that was the high point of my weekend was that dancing unicorn.
Yeah, that's not every day, for sure.
I got some video of it. It's up. I think it's up. I made sure to put that up. I figured it'll make other people happy. Man.
So, I'm curious. I mean, I haven't looked in a day or two, but what's happening in Venice?
They're still moving people out. LAPD's there all the time.
So
I
it's
don't know what the sheriffs
LAPD
are
and not
doing.
the sheriff.
Well, everything I've seen lately is LAPD. But when I'm around there for work, I see sheriffs driving up and down like Lincoln and stuff like that. I don't know where they go. They turned on Rose once, and a couple other times they turn on like these random streets, or they just keep going down Lincoln towards Santa Monica area. Sorry, I had to mute for a cough. I just took a toke. Yeah, I don't know. I've really been. I know there's people down there. I didn't know that at first. So I mean, they're better at it than me, being down there a lot, and they seem to be watching out. So I've been kind of just monitoring the areas by my house over here when I have time, when I'm not working or whatever. It just seems that's more practical for me to do. I'm still worried about what's happening there. Everyone's worried with these new laws. We talked about this on the show yesterday with Adrian. Listen to that show if anybody didn't hear the beginning of this show. My Non-Objective Opinion, number 35, with Adrian from michaelkohas.org. It was a really good show yesterday. So check it out in My Non-Objective Opinion playlist. And yeah, but that's what we were talking about there, like these new laws that they're making, criminalizing so much stuff. They're really terrifying and scary. And especially to somebody that's going to have to be affected by them, you know?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
So I guess then the way it seemed to be setting up for me is the way it's playing out. Because remember, I said on the show, Villanueva is being the politician out in front of the crowd on this relocation junta. And now it seems like he got that position. He made it an inevitability that this was going to happen. He was allowed to use his office, and with Sacramento not doing fuck all about it, he made a situation that was going to happen regardless, whether it was sheriffs on the ground removing people or whether it was LAPD. He manufactured this. And now it looks to me like LAPD is just going to spend their money and send all their fucking black fascists down there instead of the tan fascists.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
Black and tans. There's something about that, huh?
Yeah. Africa Corps comes to mind, but, hey, whatever.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Villanueva, he's like a combination of Baca and Arpaio.
Yeah, but I think what he's doing is he's seen the successful, at least the recall election for Newsom, and they're trying to recall other people. It's like a small group of these right-wing cats, and then they got, a lot of people will jump on because everybody hates the politicians, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for different reasons, I think. So he's embraced these alt-right, the Blue Lives Matter people, the Trump supporters, the MAGAs, the red MAGAs. And I think he's banking on them to keep him as sheriff as long as he wants to be. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Well, I'm just, it just blows my mind that within the city of Los Angeles, the LA County Sheriff can throw this much fucking weight around. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, I think it's all just political. I mean, in front of the camera, he mocks people. He does all this crazy stuff. It's all promotional propaganda, PR kind of shit.
Ridiculous.
He might even have a PR company, you know what I mean?
Yeah, management, yeah.
Yeah, working with them to, let's get you a media date over here where you go talk to the media and look all hard and, wear your stupid cowboy hat and get your image right for the, I'm telling you, it's just, I think it's a little bit of everything. And it's all politics. And like we said on yesterday's show, well, all this is going to court and all this stuff's happening and all the uncertainty, one thing's for certain, there's going to be a whole lot of people suffering and hurting and worse because of this.
More
until if and when they figure out, some kind of less horrifying way to deal with people. Maybe just give them a place to live and some money instead of paying all that money to brutalize them daily. Maybe some mental health care for some people would do a lot of good. Instead of prison cells and jails and wherever they put people in.
Well, I'm just wondering how long it's going to take before there's finally enough people that will see something that's been in front of them for a very long time. And it's like, all this constant, nonstop talk about budgets and taxes and everything else. Well, when is somebody finally going to have the balls to say, what we've been doing the last 30 years has done nothing but make a cop that gets maybe 6 weeks training, starts at $100,000, has a very strong agreement to protect them in their job. Their benefits for getting injured are right at the top of the ladder. And over the same period of time, teachers, nurses, all kinds of workers that are critical to the entire society have been getting less pay, less benefits, less everything. When is somebody with some weight finally going to have the balls to say, we keep talking about value. Police is not a value. We're not getting our money's worth, and it's getting a worse ratio all the time. Where are these fiscal conservatives on that point? Because it's painfully obvious. But it's just like the U.S. military budget. If it's going to freeze, it's a huge scandal. Never mind if it gets cut. It never gets cut. And then there's the black budget that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
It's finally, when is somebody going to actually stick to their economics and say the police is a black hole? It's a permanent deficit in every way you look at it. We need to do something better.
No, that's different, man. That's how they'll say it.
Exactly. And that sells. That's what blows my mind.
Apples and oranges. And then you say, how? And you be like, no. They don't go further than their little one-liners generally.
Yeah, they've got a slogan response, and then they check out.
Dude, these people are just screaming about pedophiles. It's like so weird, man.
It's a recycle, man.
And it's like, you gotta really wonder about people that are that obsessed and see pedophiles everywhere they look.
Oh, so you're making a Shakespeare reference now.
The lady doth protest too much.
Yes, methinks he doth protest too much.
Oh, that's what it was. I knew it was something like that. Oh, yeah.
That's true. That's true. But, I don't know. But I mean, again, this is the thing, like we said before. All these small, agitative, loud wingnuts get a hugely disproportionate amount of attention. Like they are made out to be much, much more than they really are. I mean, even up here, when some wackadoo comes to Calgary, which is equivalent to your Phoenix, as far as I'm concerned, politically, and they'll get 1,000 people turn out to see him. Well, it's a city of 1.1 million. So really, that's fuck all. If it was 20 or 30,000, yeah, that's an issue. But I mean, 1,000 people in a city of 1 million, big fucking deal. Why do we have to hear about this nonstop for 2 days? That's a problem. That shouldn't be happening. Because without exposure, they don't get anywhere.
Man, you remember a while back that woman called William from Film the Police? She was questioning, are you a cop? And blah, 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 flying around with a camera.
Yeah.
Man, I got into it with her. And I was thinking about something, because I see her a lot. And I was just like, she cut off my shot the other day, which pissed me off. That's when I got into it. I was like, are you a cop? She goes, why would you ask me that? I said, ain't you snitch jacketing other people, calling cops? She goes, we're cool now. And I was like, no, you ain't. I said, stay the fuck out my shop with your white bread, chicken shit, Better Homes and Garden, Maybelline, some shit. But my whole thing was, I started watching her for a little while, and I'm like, she has no fear. She knows the cops will never do anything to her. She doesn't. She said she's working on some special she's just exploiting the movement is what she's doing for whatever project. It's going to be some art project, I bet you. She never says anything. She never protests. She just keeps snapping pictures all up on the line. That just seems so you know?
Well, I just don't trust it.
It just, I don't understand this. Like, I understand why, you know, there's people out there with cameras filming things. They have to be. But at certain people, they seem like they're going for the shot. They want the violence. They want all the commotion. It just seems like really, you know, really weird. It seems like they're not part of the solution. They're not even trying to. I might not be part of the solution, but I want people to go out there and realize we should all belittle and demean cops all the time and psychologically attack them and, you know, go hard on the pigs, basically. So I figure if I don't do it, how can I expect anyone else to do it? But these people aren't saying anything. They don't even have a logo on them that's with the shirt don't even be with the cause. You know what I mean?
Well, my rule has always been that anyone who gets in close proximity to the police and pays them no heed because they know they're okay. You know, because, you know, yeah, I've gotten closer to the police in lines than I wanted to. And I'm fucking keeping a razor eye on every one of them I can see.
But you're a protester.
Yes, that's what I mean. Anybody who gets that close to the cops and don't even look at them.
I don't know who these people are. It's just like you're doing an art project at our expense. I don't like that.
No, that's the cover.
Yeah, I was wondering if she's out there taking shots for other people, but she's usually just doing stills, it looks like. I didn't follow her that long. I wasn't even following her, just watching her. Like, what is she doing?
Yeah, okay. So the LAPD takes these stills and puts them in their facial recognition software. What more do they need?
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah,
I just think she's going for the shot to get paid. You know what I mean? Like, oh.
Well, she'll get paid from 5 different people for her pictures if she can, but it sounds to me like right now she's getting paid by the LAPD.
Yeah, I don't know. But then she out there, she was talking shit to people, so I felt like she needed to get shit talked back to for... I seen her at the last one I was at, but I was just like, I don't know. I was busy. There was less people and a lot more pigs.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm always hardcore on this type of standards to be cool with me in a real protest because, you know, I've just seen it firsthand. People who try and take a leadership position and they're not really there for your cause. They're there to use your cause for their cause.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people out there with ulterior motives.
You know, and that's fucking bullshit. I mean, the guy who took over Occupy Edmonton is now a spokesperson for most of Canada for Greenpeace. That's no accident.
I mean, there's people out there that are filming, and I don't know if they're getting paid or not. I don't care, but like Vishal Singh or whoever, even William, he doesn't get paid. I know that for a fact, but I'm just saying they're out there as part of the movement. They're doing the same thing as the people, and even if they're filming in press, they're releasing important stuff on the people's side.
Yep.
You know, I have a feeling her stuff's going to end up in a gallery somewhere. That just seems so exploitative, man. Like, I'm going to go to these marches for people, black people murdered by the police or trans people that were threatened or murdered, and I'm going to just take pictures and then I'm going to sell these pictures and it's going to be my thing because I'm a white woman and I'm going to steal from other cultures' struggles. It just seems weird, man. I don't know. Like, you can't just wear a shirt. At the time she was calling William a cop, we went to her account, and she had one little tiny little thing that said, it was like a little picture on a wall or something, said Black Lives Matter. Everything else was just like Better Homes and Garden, like that shit I was just saying, Maybelline. It was just like, you know, stupid ass white model home pictures or something of products and homes or something.
Yeah, Pinterest bullshit.
So it just I don't know. Like, if you're going to be there profiting or trying to profit or come up off a struggle, at least be with the struggle. At least stand with the people. At least wear something that says I'm with the people, you know? Wear a Black Lives Matter shirt, or wear the flag or something, or speak up and have a picket sign or something other than just snip, 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 snip. The cops will never mess with me because I'm a white woman with a big-ass expensive camera. Snip, snip, snip. You know, it's just ridiculous, man.
Well, I mean, logic only dictates. Probably the first or second time she ever did this, the LAPD media officer for that operation wants to know who the fuck she is and wants to talk to her. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's no way she's doing this repeatedly unless it's okay with the cops. And it's not okay with the cops because they just said, yeah, she seems okay. The cops want something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That could be the case. I don't know. It just seems like if you there all the time with people on one side of a movement, you know, as far as I know, she's not with the racist over there, but she could be at other rallies snapping them too that I don't see. I only see what I see.
Different color hair.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, just stand with the people. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to exploit people, at least stand with them. It's the least you could do.
Well, I just think if you're going to exploit a cause, you're not with the cause, period. So, fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how this stuff works.
Because they asked her, what are you doing out here? When she called him a cop, he was like, what are you doing? She's like, it's a private special project or some crap. She said like that, or my personal project or something. It's like, okay.
Whatever.
And he didn't say, she said, my apologies. He said, I don't accept. She's like, we're cool now. Okay. Maybe they are, I don't know. But she ain't cool with me. I don't like that. It's just weird. I'll never seen her chant nothing, stand with the people, got a fist in the air, nothing, just snap, 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 snap. It's like she a protest paparazzi.
No.
Dude, I'm talking so much shit, I don't even get the shot sometimes. I'm just mad at the pigs. That's why I was saying I need my 360 camera back. I need to get another one of those because I have a whole lot of shots. It's just at the ground, and you hear my voice rambling on and on. It's just, I like that because I could just turn it on, ignore the camera, and I have every shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's on my backpack. I don't have to worry about it. It's just going and and I have every shot. So I could be like, oh, I don't want to show these people's face, so I'll clip it here where it's like the police and you still got a full shot. Or one time I was on the street and there was kids walking by. I didn't want to show them on the camera, but you know the camera records everything. So what I did, I just shot up to the sky real quick and then came back around behind the cops and I kind of followed the last kid's elbow. I think you could see. It was just a weird little and it just looked like a weird camera movement, but it was just because the 360 cam is awesome. So yeah, I'm hoping before the next time I gotta go to anywhere, I'll have a 360 cam on my backpack again.
Well, I guess the way I can sum it up is if there is a actual protest going on and the police are on one side, then there are only two sides in this protest. There is no third side. If you want to be a third side, you are not to be trusted. That's it.
No, the third side is the Nazis who are with the police. Obviously, so you're right. There's just two sides. She's not even a side.
She's the third side, which means
she's like
she can't be trusted.
a parasite. I think.
Well, whatever. There's no room for that. I mean, word should get around. People should be fuck her. Don't deal.
Well, I
with
mean,
her.
that's not my
She tries
job.
to take your picture, give her the fucking finger.
I just told her like I treated her like I treat the mainstream media. Stay the fuck out my shot, and I'll stand right in front of her. That's the way I looked at it. I didn't even have a shot. I was just talking shit to cops.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Just whichever one I was looking at the time, the camera was probably aiming. I had some good stuff like, I was following this one cop, looked like they were getting really pissed off. And then they started looking like, please. I could see it in their eyes, just like, I wish you'd go away. This is really painful, because I just kept writing on them. But I did that on Instagram Live, and then it's supposed to save it, and it doesn't save them, so I lost a whole bunch of video. Man, Instagram need to get their shit together, dude. I got my phone. You have to hold your phone upright. You can't hold it, landscape and get a normal shot. You have to hold it upright, so it's a crappy shot. You can only see so much already. It's the only way it lets you do it. Or you have a sideways live stream going on, which some people do, and then they alter it later. I guess that's smart. But then it doesn't always save it. You set it to save it, you tell it to save it, and you look back and the video's not there.
Fucking Facebook.
Yeah, I need this 360 camera back, because the DSLR is just this big clunky thing I got to carry around. The only good thing about the DSLR is the monopod.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, there's Nazis in the park. You just start unscrewing the monopod where let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could put that monopod on the GoPro too. So that's not even, I like the DSLR. I just don't like it I like it when I'm filming police, I think. I think I'm just ranting on a tangent right now. But yeah, for filming police, it's big and scary, and I could put it on a cage with microphones and lights, and they're like, holy crap, this big camera. For some reason, the bigger the camera, the more the cops fear it. I don't know why.
Yep.
But I do like it for that. But a protest is just hard to carry. I want to be yelling and doing stuff. I don't want to be worried about filming, but I want to have something to cover my ass if the cops do something, and other people too, as much as possible. To protect the people. But at the same time, that's the downside of the 360 camera. You get everything, and sometimes you don't want to get everything, but you could just quickly delete everything, or if you get home with it, cut out what you want. I'm big on editing,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But there comes a point where you have to consider what you're going to get involved with and how much gear you have and what the gear is worth. And is there I don't want to bring this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the GoPro is actually more durable than my DSLR.
Yeah.
And smaller, and my DSLR is all you could. I'll take a picture when it's bashed up and scratched. The mic thing's broken. Because them Trump cats used to run through the crowds and attack people in the crowds. So it'd be like you get into it with them, and then next thing you know, your camera's in the middle of you and these fools getting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Trump years were bad for my DSLR.
That's a whole nother show. Where did they all go now?
Yeah, they're still around. Some of them still have Trump flags because I think they believe in August he's going to be president again or something.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a new date. After August, I don't know, it'll probably be next inauguration, January 20th, 22. He'll be president again.
No, Halloween.
Yeah. Anyway, we're ranting. What else do we got? Anything else?
I only say Halloween because the color of Halloween is orange. That's all.
Oh, I thought it was for some other reason.
No, that's enough. He is the great pumpkin.
Because if it was Halloween, you know what I was going to ask you?
What?
Are you going trick-or-treating?
Are you going trick-or-treating?
Oh, man. So, yeah, Are we gonna wrap it, or we got more stuff to talk about?
No, I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done, because I've been talking about cameras for the last 32 minutes or something. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. And yeah, I half-assed all the chat. So hello Celeb and hello Celeb.
Yeah.
So yeah, and thanks for listening, and thanks to everybody who will listen in the future. Check out the My Non-Objective Opinion playlist. You can let it just play. The first one you're going to hear is number 35 with Adrian from michaelkohlhaas.org. And after that, you'll hear 2 with William from Film the Police, and then Bushido Squirrels on one. There's a whole lot of awesome interviews there, so check them out. And thank you, Glenn, and we're about to be out.